You're tuned into the National Communications Network, and we're coming to you here from the Arthur Chung Conference Center on the sidelines of the FAO Regional Conference for the Latin America and the Caribbean. I have joining me to have a discussion about all that is transpiring here at the Arthur Chung Conference Center, the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries there in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Samal Duggins. Mr. Duggins, thank you so much for joining us here and for having this conversation with me.
Indeed, good afternoon. It's my pleasure being here.
I'm happy. So let's talk about the FAO conference. Tell me a little bit about what the discussions have been like so far, what you've been able to see in your time here and stuff like that.
Well, I've been here now for the past 2 days for this conference, and I must admit that the dialogue and the discussions have been quite powerful. We've seen in the opening address, President Ali delivering a very compassionate and emotional plea for us to be more committed to actual transformation in agriculture on a regional and a global scale, and for us to consider our responsibility for countries like Haiti and others that suffering the consequences of war and strife within their nations. And I think it was important that that is raised to the highest levels, and he did that. So I thought that was extremely powerful.
St. Kitts and Nevis is part of the wider body of CARICOM, and we know St. Kitts has been playing a pivotal role in a number of areas, but tell us a little bit about agriculture in St. Kitts and Nevis and how the country is looking to support the reduction of food insecurity across the globe.
Yes, indeed. I mean, St. Kitts and Nevis, considering our landmass, is just collectively, it's 2 islands, 1 paradise, and collectively it's just over 100 square miles. So you recognize it's not a lot of space for us to really get into commercial agriculture in a real way. But what we've been able to do is utilize that landmass effectively. Our thrust has been toward climate smart agricultural production, and so we are going into a lot more precision-based agriculture. So greenhouses, drip irrigation, aquaculture, things that we know could be highly technical, but you produce a lot more with less.
And Guyana has been playing a pivotal role in CARICOM. We know that CARICOM's agenda right now is reducing the food import bill by 25% by 2025. What do you think about Guyana's role in all of this, not just in CARICOM, but globally supporting the fight and supporting the goal of reaching food security?
I think Guyana has done an excellent job in canvassing the entire region and being a lead voice. By virtue of its size, its positioning, I think Guyana is well poised to lead the charge and amplify the voices of countries like mine, St. Kitts and Nevis. With a much smaller voice in the global sphere, Guyana now has the world listening, and they're using that attention from the globe to amplify the voice of the region, especially CARICOM, on its 25 by 25 agenda. I think that's important because as a region, we recognize that together we can match towards success. And Guyana being one of the lead voices, along with Barbados and a number of other countries, I think it's working, it's resonating, and we recognize the world is paying attention to our efforts. And that's good.
Minister, this may be the first time that this conference is being hosted in Guyana here. But tell me, why do you think these events are important generally, but also important to be held in our little space of the Caribbean region?
By virtue of your own description of it, when you have a territory that's considered little, it's important that these discussions are brought into that territory. Because it is only when people recognize the realities and the circumstances of some of these territories that people then put realistic actions in place. And so having the world come to our shores and witness our realities rather than just hearing about them is critical for true action to take place. And so that's why something like this is so critical. Come to our shores, see it for yourself, feel it for yourself, experience it for yourself, understand the political and social will to get it done, and be a part of the change. I think that is critical for us, and it's certainly happening from what I can see.
Minister, I want to thank you so much for spending the last few minutes. It's truly been insightful having this conversation with you today.
It has been, and thank you for having me.
No problem.
It's wonderful being in wonderful Guyana. I'm a water sign. Guyana is a water country. And so there's a huge synergy with me and Guyana, and I love it.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here as well. Thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you.
You've heard from the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries there from St. Kitts and Nevis on the sidelines of the FAO Regional Conference for Latin America and the Caribbean. Stay with us as we continue to bring you more updates.